In this episode, I am spilling the secrets of the universe. Yes, you heard that right. The secrets of the universe. How do I know it's the secret of the universe? I don't, but I promise you I'm going to be reminding you of something super powerful in this episode. So listen up. Welcome to All In with Allie, the podcast for online business owners and entrepreneurs who are ready to create the life and business of their dreams. I am so happy you are here. Okay, so backstory. All right. I don't know about you. Actually, I do know about you because I've had many conversations with many of you, because this has kind of been the theme of the past few episodes. I've been alluding a lot to my own experience of the past year. When I say the past year, I'm talking about 2023 and how it's just been different. Right? It hasn't been all bad, obviously. It never is. But it's just felt like when you compare it, and it's really easy to compare years, right? But when you compare it to 2022, 2021, the vibe feels a bit more difficult for me anyway. And again, a lot of you resonate with this. And sidebar, I came across a TikTok the other day that kind of blew my mind a little bit because it was so simple, but it felt so true, because this is what, like, the past year for me has kind of felt like a big test. That's what it's felt like. And this TikTok said, when you're going through a hard thing and God feels as if he's nowhere to be found, right? Like you're like, hello, need you, would love some backup here. And it's just silence. The guy said in the TikTok, he said, when this happens, I remember that the teacher is quiet during a test. The teacher is quiet during the test. That's our time to shine, right? So good. So this checks out for me. And anyway, for the backstory, it's just felt like, 2023 specifically was just it was just a different bag of fun and games and journeys. And I can see now in hindsight in so many different ways how it had to be that way and how it did support me. And I can kind of piece the puzzle pieces together now for sure. But I'm ready for a shift, and I can say this, I have felt such a shift, a palpable shift in 2024. And I really hope that you're feeling the same. But for me, it's been the past week that things have really, really shifted in my world. It feels as if, I'm trying to think of a metaphor, but it feels as if I don't know, what would be a good metaphor? I got it. Okay. You know the meme where it shows the guy digging a trail or like a hole in the dirt looking for a diamond, and he's so close, and one guy is also looking for the same diamond, and he ends up quitting and turning around before he gets to the diamond, and the other guy is literally one hit until he hits the diamond. You've seen this, right? And it's all about keep going, persevere. It's okay if it's hard, blah, blah. Okay, we get it. That's what it's felt like. And it feels like this past week I've hit a diamond, right? Not the diamond, but it's just felt like, okay, we're picking up momentum again. I'm seeing a really good shift. The shift that I have been praying for damn near a year is what it feels like. And I'm so thankful. But I will say this, and the reason why this episode is what it is because I did something very different in the past. I wouldn't say it's the past week. I've been doing this for, really all of 2023, because I started with Rebel, and Rebel was the 31-day program that I ran in January, which was all around listening to an activation every day, getting your mind right. And it gave really thoughtful, I gave super thoughtful and intentional prompts to set yourself apart for the year and beyond. So that really helped me make a positive shift for myself. And then I just kind of kept it going. And the past week, things have just changed. And I kind of had a massive breakthrough, which is the secret that I'm alluding to, because it just clicked. When you can hear the same thing or hear somebody talk about or read or learn about the same thing again and again and again. And conceptually, you're like, yes, 1 + 1 = 2. Conceptually, I understand. But in practice, it doesn't make sense to me. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, that's this thing that I'm about to share with you. So many of you are going to be like, okay, yeah. I've heard this before. Got it. Yep. Totally got it. Not really telling us anything new here. Thanks for nothing. And then others of you are going to be like, facts, because you understand on a different level than the average person. Probably because you've allowed yourself to really consciously put this into practice and you have experienced the fruits of this labor, and it's legit. Okay. So one thing that I did that I've been working on, and I kind of kicked it up a notch this past couple weeks, was anchoring in deeper and deeper and deeper into gratitude. What does this mean? This does not mean that I got up in the morning and I got out a piece of paper and I wrote out 10 things that I'm thankful for. That's not what that means. This doesn't mean that I sat Indian style and I thanked God for everything that I have and I thought pretty thoughts for 2 minutes and went on with my day. What I mean by this was I seeped myself so deep in gratitude. I was so consciously hyper aware of my thoughts, of my feelings, and how I was moving through my day, that the only option was to re-gear, refocus to gratitude. That's what I mean. That any thought that came up that was not in the vibe of thank you, God, it's working, right? Like, and also I'll throw into, in addition to like simply being grateful for where I am, also consciously speaking into existence the thing that I want to happen. So instead of looking around and saying, okay, yes, thank you, God. I'm so glad that I'm here right now. I'm so glad that this is working, but it's not enough. But this probably isn't going to happen. And then this bad thing probably will. And then it's just like this constant vibe of preparing for what it is that I actually want to happen. Do you hear that? Do you hear that? Remaining in a constant or as consistent as possible vibe of speaking into existence and preparing for the outcome that I actually want, while being seeped in gratitude for what is. What this looks like, some examples for you. I was in an interesting situation where there was just like to be frank with you, there were some payments that weren't coming through my business that I was very much expecting for, whatever reason. And people were defaulting on pretty large payments, which this happens sometimes. And it put me in a precarious situation. And I'm not going to get into a ton of details there, but like I was in this and I was sitting there and I literally laughed. Like that when I realized that this wasn't turning around immediately, right? Like in the way that I would hope this played out. It wasn't shifting immediately. And instead of being like, why me? Why is this happening? What, not saying that we can't reflect and be thoughtful about the situations that we're in and how to fix it, right? But I literally laughed. And I was like, this is going to be one hell of a story one day. That was my response. I laughed like a Looney Tune. Like, oh my God, this is so interesting. Okay, this is gonna make for a hell of a story one day. And in that moment, I caught myself and I was like, I'm damn proud of you. You have come a long way, Missy. This isn't like normally this is something that would send me into a freaking tailspin. And normally, where this would really affect me? It would affect my mood at home. right? Normally something like this, I would carry it home. I wouldn't be as playful with my kids. I wouldn't be as like loving and fun with Chris. Like this happened on a Friday and we were preparing for a night, just like a sweet night at home. And normally this would totally just put a damper on my night. And I'd be in such a bad mood and I'd probably try and come out of it, but it would 100% affect me for sure. And then I was like, I can't change it. Not right now. There is nothing I can do right now to change this situation. So am I going to let it continue to manifest and dampen the rest of my night and negatively affect the rest of my night? Or am I going to prepare as if the thing I want is happening, which is this is going to turn around any minute? So what would I do if this was turning around in any minute? What would I do if I trusted that the teacher is silent during the test, but it's not far? It's still it's still got my back. What would I do then? So you know what I did? I laughed. I put on some music that I was like at the store walking to my car from the store. And I was just like, this is crazy. And I laughed and I got in my car. I put on some good music. I shit you not. Now that I'm thinking about it, I totally forgot about this. I think I cried because I was listening to this song that I'm just loving lately. And I know you're going to ask what it is. No Cars Go by, I always forget the name of the band, but it's called No Cars Go. It's an older song and it just makes me emotional. And I literally like cried tears of gratitude on the way home because I just felt so thankful for that shift. And I just knew it was going to be fine. I knew it was going to be fine. And I went home. You would have thought I had hit the freaking lottery. I was just happy. And I was just happy. So had such an incredible night with my family, had such an incredible day, the day after, all like didn't stress about it. The next day, somebody signed up for my mastermind, paid in full, shifted everything. This was such a unique situation. It was such like I haven't, one day I'll be able to like give more context, but like has to do with taxes, has to do with a lot of different things. And that it's not important to the story, which is why I'm not going into it here, but it was just an uncomfortable situation. And then it all got shifted instantly because an old client decided to come back into my world and paid in full for the mastermind. And it was like, there it is. There it is. Now, would this have happened had I have gone into a tailspin? Would this have happened if I had taken action out of alignment and done something that I really didn't want to do in the frequency of preparing for the thing that I don't want, that this was not going to be okay? We don't know. But I can tell you it's been a hot minute since something that big has shifted for me in that way, if that makes sense. And I just knew, and with every, when you just know, like for me, they say that everybody has a level of voyance. I think like some people are clairvoyant, some people are audio voyant. I don't know all the terms, but everybody has a little bit of clair something. Yeah, that's what it is. Clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient, clair emotion. That's wrong. But like everybody has a clair, right? You have some sort of psychic ability in you. Mine for sure is a knowing. That's what mine is. Like sometimes I just know things and I don't know why I know them. And I knew in this moment with everything in me, I had passed the test. I wasn't being tested to be tested. It was just a situation that in many ways I put myself in. Like if you really get down to it, I'm responsible for the things that happen in my business, even when it comes down to taxes and tax bills that aren't, but we're not going to get into it. But like I take full responsibility for that, right? So it was a test that in a way I kind of put myself in, but I passed it. And I prepared for the thing that I wanted, and the thing that I wanted came, which was an opportunity out of this to shift this funk, right? A real shift and reprieve from the temporary discomfort that we were feeling in my business. I'm telling, like, it gives me chills to think about this. Immediately, like right after this happened, and I messaged my client, and I'm just like, I mean, just the fact that I get to work with this person, you know, like we celebrated, I'm just so thankful anyway. But then on top of that, the compounded effect of, whoa, your energy played a role in this. We've got to remember this. You've got to remember this. I wrote pages and pages, and I just journaled, like, don't forget what happened in this moment. Don't forget how you felt. Don't forget the option for fear was there. And it's not that it went away. It's not that the fear went away. It's that I walked with it, and I decided the energy I was going to walk with it through. That's what it was. Everybody feels fear. Everybody has interesting things and uncomfortable situations that comes up in business, in life, in whatever. This is normal. And I know I used to think that fear was reserved for newbies or people that, like, I don't know. I kind of, in a weird way, thought you get to a certain level and you just don't get scared anymore. And what I'm finding is that's absolutely not true. It's always going to be there. As a matter of fact, the more successful you get, kind of the more that you have to lose in a lot of ways, which can make fear feel and seem even larger and louder than maybe what it might have felt like at a different level. So fear's normal, but the difference is how do you choose to walk through it? How do you choose to move through that fear? This is this is my feeling of knowing right now is this is it. This is the secret to everything, is how you choose to, well, okay. It's kind of two parts, actually, now that I'm really thinking about it, because I kind of went on the fear tangent a little bit, and that's absolutely part of it. But let's take it back to gratitude, because this was another thing too that I've been, again, I've already shared this, like, so hyper aware of. And the reason why I went home and I allowed myself to just have fun and be thankful and be happy for the beautiful things in my life is because they're in my life. These are things that I used to pray for years ago. These are things that make me the luckiest human on the planet. The man that I'm married to, these two gorgeous, healthy children in our house, in our, like, everything about it, the blessings on blessings on blessings. Why would I ever in any way, shape, or form take that for granted? But there are times where, because of outside circumstances, you would think I am taking them for granted. If you ask me, I would, of course, argue, like, of course not. But, like, if you judged by my actions, you'd be like, do you remember how lucky you are? And this isn't to say, guys, we're going to be human. This doesn't mean we can't have a bad day. And this is actually really important that I want you to hear. This doesn't mean that if over the weekend when this happened and I was at a limit, and this hit me on the wrong day, the wrong time, and I needed to let out emotion, this doesn't mean that I failed a test or you failed the test. It's about what we do after that, right? It's not the fact that I laughed about it like a psychopath and was like, well, that's not it. It's that I was able to compartmentalize in my mind that this is a blip on the radar compared to all the other things that are going right, that are going so stupidly right in my world. Things that used to be on vision boards, things that when I was a little girl, like, if you had told me I would be married to a man like Chris Reeves, who loves me in the way that Chris Reeves loves me and cares for our children, and I would have these two boys that are who they are, and this would be our life, and I have a business that I get to do from literally anywhere, and I get to create whatever I want, and I get to speak into a microphone these words that are going to help move people in the right direction, God willing. Like, this is my life? Are you joking? Am I dreaming? Like, did I fall into a coma at the age of 12 and I'm having like some trippy dream where this is the best dream ever? Because this is my life. And I would bet if you were to look at your own life, while of course there's always the things, in large part, I would bet you probably feel the same about most of it. That is gratitude. Remembering how good you have it now. Does it get better? Of course. Will it get better? Of course. We're here to grow and evolve. That's the point. But not at the expense of appreciating all the good that we've created thus far. And even looking at, and this is when I was like having a moment driving home, crying tears of gratitude. I was even thankful for the situation. You don't have to, like, gratitude doesn't look like being thankful for only the things going right. Ninja level gratitude is being able to look at everything in your life through the filter of, how is this supporting me in some way, even if I can't see it now? How is this supporting my growth? Let me tell you something. What I've experienced in the past 6 months as it relates to business and like the tax thing and feeling this pressure of, okay, there's like, we save, right? Like, and my business does well, but like how I have felt the past few months, it's not it. Not it. I will never feel this way again. I've got new wealth goals now. I'm somebody who like, for example, I was preparing to buy my dream car in a couple of months. I was so excited about it. I'm ready. It's like, it's on brand. I'm not even going to tell you what it is because I'm so excited for when it happens. But like after everything that happened, and this isn't from a place of scarcity, this is from a place of, I desire to feel differently at all times, like as it relates to finances. Anyway, like I will have a cushion. I will have like, there's a new level of security that feels right to create right now. And it feels expansive. So now I have new goals of, I'm not buying this car now. As a matter of fact, I want X amount in the bank, period, at all times. And then anything that comes on top of that, we get to play with. That feels so, I cannot tell you how expansive that feels for me. I cannot wait to be, and we're already building it, like it's already happening. And who's to say this, I don't get to get the car in a couple of months because things can shift. Like the way our businesses work, guys, we literally pull money from the air, from the sky. This is why I have a program called Pulling Money from the Sky, because that's what we do. You get the right idea, you have changed your life in a freaking week, sometimes a day. But this situation, the discomfort of it shows me what is not working anymore, what I am not available for anymore. And what I'm not available for is to put myself in any more precarious situations where I need a mini miracle to feel safe. It's not happening. I will not be responsible for putting myself in that situation anymore. I would not have felt this way and now have these new, what I believe is higher level wealth goals and intentions that are going to far serve me and my family and my business far more than what they were just a few months ago, had it not been for this situation. So we can, like the ninja level, pro level gratitude is looking at everything, the good and what we perceive as the bad, because we're the ones that put the label on it. We see situations as good or bad. They're just situations. They're just things that you have attracted based on your vibe, your energy. And let me tell you how fast it can turn around. That's another thing I definitely underestimate. And I know it's really easy to underestimate because sometimes it feels like I'm never going to get out of this. It could turn around like that in a moment. But are you preparing for that outcome? Or are you preparing for the absolute worst, the absolute opposite thing of what you actually want? I wrote an email this week and I really like how I feel like, I don't know how you feel when people say this, but I genuinely feel like a large part of this email was channeled in some way because I had a Unity mastermind call, which really uplifted me and this is why I believe in high level mentorship and long-term mentorship, because it just getting around other people who are playing, I like to say like are playing a big game like you and are also feeling the same things and going through the same challenges. I often will come out the other end of these calls just totally reconnected with my vision and what I'm capable of. And it was one of those calls. And I went on a walk And I had this massive breakthrough as it relates to a couple of different things. And I was like, I need to send an email. Like I've got to share this. And I even said the email, I was like, I'm going to share this in a podcast too. And we'll go deep on it, which is what we're doing now. But I was like, I need to share this immediately. And it just flooded through me. It was the easiest email I've ever written. It was long AF, but one of the things that I put in there was a decision when made from a place of your truth times desired outcome is gold. I didn't put that exactly, but I added the gold part for the podcast. But in the email, it was your decision when made from a place of your truth times or plus whatever desired outcome equals what it is that you want. Because gratitude is a big, big piece of this. But then you also have to move, right? The other piece is moving with the fear, moving through the situation. That's a big piece. You can't just sit in a room and feel grateful and not make decisions in most cases. So I feel like one of the things that used to trip me up was I would feel the feelings that I wanted to feel. I would anchor into gratitude, or at least to the best of my ability. But that preparation piece that I've been saying, like, what are you preparing for? The thing that you want or the thing that you don't want? The preparation comes in the action that you're taking. So as you're moving through your life, I want you to try and do this. When you go to take any action that is business related, anything important to you, I want you to ask yourself, is this in alignment with my truth, which simply means what you really want in this moment, like what feels right in this moment, mixed with your desired outcome, what you want to create, how you want to come out the other side of this, what your desired outcome is. So an example of this is when I was having this breakthrough, I had this moment where I don't know why, but I just felt as if like I want to relaunch my mastermind. And this had like kind of come up a little bit, but I always shot it down immediately because this was something that I had said previously that I was taking a break from my mastermind because I wanted more time to focus on the podcast. I wanted to focus more on scaling my offers and my memberships. And frankly, I just needed more time in general. I was booked and busy the past couple of years, big time. And I just needed more space. And I had said, and I'd kind of like in a weird way promised myself and even publicly that I wasn't going to be doing the mastermind for a while. So because of that, anytime this feeling would come up, I was like, maybe I should, and then immediately shot it down. But then I funneled it through this, right? Like, what is my truth and versus my desire times or mixed with my desired outcome? My truth is I was craving creating a group where we can have this level conversations and deeper every single day. Like I miss this so much. I love my mastermind and I've missed it and I feel ready again. And my desired outcome is to create the level of business where this is included as part of the business. This is one of my favorite ways is to support people. So I allowed myself to pivot. We have to be able to do that. So as you're moving through your business and your life, ask yourself that question. What is your truth in this moment? Is it also in alignment with your desired outcome? If so, move. Who cares what other people think? Who cares what you 2 weeks ago under different circumstances thought? Move. Allow yourself to pivot. It's usually when I'm able to make these decisions and trust that I get some of the most incredible experiences and outcomes. And this decision of relaunching my mastermind this has been one of the big shifts that's happened the past couple weeks. I'm seeing people moving again in my world in a way that it felt like it had slowed, right? And it feels so good. It feels so good. So we can look through life through any filter that we wish. Right? You've heard of like rose-colored glasses and people walk around with rose-colored glasses and everything's rosy and peachy and too good to be true. And then you've also heard of people who walk through life, what I call with the shit filter. And what I've noticed with myself is if I am not paying attention, it's not long before I can look at my own filter and see that it has been collecting shit. And now everything I look at looks like shit. It happens so easy sometimes. It's frustrating, but with a little self-awareness and consciously wanting to make this shift, all you got to do is wipe off the lens. And what that looks like is what's going right. The amount of people that walk through life only asking themselves, what's going wrong? Where are the fires? What do I want to bitch about now? What's getting on my nerves now? What do I want to, we all do this on some level, but some people, this is their permanent setting, or you would think it is. It's never a permanent setting, but you would think it was. Wipe off the lens. How are things going right? I would bet there are equal amounts, if not more, reasons to celebrate and romanticize in your life versus things that are going terribly wrong. I would bet. So I would encourage you, if you want to get on a train that's headed in the direction that you want to go, wipe off your lens. Get on the right train. If you've been going in the opposite direction, get off the train. Get on a different one. It's going to take a little effort at first because you've been used to going a certain way, a certain direction for a certain amount of time. It's going to take a little practice. It's going to take a little effort to get the shit off the filter, off the lens, but it will come off. And then before you know it, you begin to acclimate to this. One of the things I love about my mentor, and I've always loved this, but now this has been one of the greatest things she's ever taught me. And I'm about to tell it to you. And it's right in line with the topic of conversation today. She is one of the most happy people you will ever meet. She's constantly celebrating. And when I mean, I don't mean big things, although like she'll celebrate anything, but she celebrates a snowflake. She celebrates getting a free coffee. She celebrates the way the sun comes in through a window. She's like this, like she is walking gratitude. And when I first got around her, I used to think like, it's part of her brand and, everybody's human, right? So like I knew I didn't think she wasn't that by any means, but I also was like, but she's also human. So I'm sure it's not like that all the time. I've been in her world for 2 years now, close proximity. This is who this woman is. And I've seen her walk in the 2 years that I've been with her, walk through some of the most difficult things that would have brought me to my knees, that would have brought any normal person to their knees and question everything. And she still was able to conduct herself with grace. And eventually through the lens of this is how this served me, and turn shit into freaking gold. This is one of the greatest lessons. And it's one of those things I appreciated conceptually. And it's been in the past couple weeks that it finally hit me like a freaking sledgehammer. Like, this is it. And you might be thinking, yeah, I would be really happy too if I've made $77 million to date in my business, because that's how much she's made. Yes, same. But I fully believe now, I've only been in her world for 2 years, but I fully believe this is just who she is. And she's told many stories and many people back this, but I just you can tell a person to their core. And this is something that in my knower, in my knowing, this is it. This is one of the reasons. It's like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? What comes first, the reason to celebrate or the celebration? So many people wait for the reason to celebrate before they have the celebration. And her thing is celebrating regardless on the way to the celebration. That is the secret. I'm telling you right now, that's it. It could be so simple. And we all overcomplicate. We all take it for granted because it feels too simple. And in some ways, it's not easy, but that's it. So let's ruminate on that, shall we? I hope this was helpful for you. If so, I would love if you screenshot and send it to me and tag me on Instagram. I would love if you left us 5 stars on iTunes or wherever you listen to this. I would just love if you really thought about this and if you really put this into practice for yourself. Just try it. Be curious. If you think this is silly, or I really don't think anybody listening really, I feel like you wouldn't be listening to this if you thought this was silly, but if there's any part of you that doubts this, or you think it's too simple, or you think you're too far in a hole, or whatever the situation is, gamify this shit. Do it for 2 weeks. I don't even think you're gonna need that. I genuinely think if you do this good for 3 days, you're gonna blow your mind. But set a timer for 2 weeks and just see, who cares? What's the worst that can happen? You're happier, you have more fun. Ooh, try it. I love you. I'll see you next week. Bye.